Hello and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. This video will probably be pretty short because we are going to start Hanako's route and we have to go through the whole thing again, but we will have a couple different options to get us there. And I'm doing my cheating thing and I got my walkthrough so I don't mess up. And here we go. Start. And then what do? Meow, 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 meow. Okay. So this is actually going to be a different one. We are going to talk with Hanako. And a bunch of stuff has already happened. If you're not familiar with this beginning part, just go and watch the earlier playthroughs and you can see what you missed. What? Oh, now it skips. You punk. I haven't even read these ones. What to do? Go talk with Hanako. Okay. I still feel bad for making her run away yesterday, so I'd better say something. Hey there, Hanako. Hisao? Well, at least she remembers my name. Hey, I wanted to apologize for yesterday. I didn't mean to startle you or anything. I'm just new here and thought I should get to know my classmates. As Hanako looks up at me, I notice her scarring once more. It's a little bewildering that you can barely notice it from across the room, but it's so noticeable from up close. That's okay. It was my fault. No, that wasn't anyone's fault, it just kind of happened. So, are you waiting for someone? I saw you looking at the door before. Yes, Lily. Oh, you mean Lily the blind girl? Okay, we have read this before, but I'm still gonna read it because I assume it's different. Hanako only nods in response, and I can't help but wonder if defining people through their disability is a faux pas of the worst kind or just normal here. I guess that explains why Lily took after her yesterday. She seems like a nice girl. Are you two friends? Yes. As if hoping for Lily to appear, she checks over her shoulder again. I think I'm making her nervous again. I hope I'm not disturbing you right now. No, that's not it. It's just easier if Lily doesn't come here. Oh, because it's hard to get around the classroom? Not really. Hanako's gaze drifts past my shoulder and towards Shizune. Shizune? Hanako nods again. What about her? Don't they get along? Hanako shakes her head. Clearly this is something she doesn't want to talk about. It does make a strange sort of sense, Shizune and Lily not getting along so well. Communication between the two would be all but impossible. It's hard enough talking to Shizune without Misha, even when you can see whose hands are talking. Hanako is so focused on Shizune that I am the first to notice Lily at the door. Oh, she's here now. Hanako spins around to confirm this. Upon seeing Lily, she moves quickly to the door. Lily. Ah, Hanako. Good morning. Is the president here? Yes. Hanako glances over her shoulder at Shizune, as if to confirm she can't hear them, even though that's impossible. I suppose we'd best be off then. Lily's sigh and tone of what seems like frustration makes me raise an eyebrow. I guess there's some kind of enmity between the two. It's intriguing, but that's not really something I should ask about. I'm sure if they wanted me to know, they would tell me. It's only my third day here. I should be trying to make friends and not finding out why people are enemies. Still, it's a little funny to find out that this school has little feuds, just like my old high school. Even if people are more tolerant of others, they're still going to get at each other's nerves. Hey Lily, how are things? I'm sorry I made you run off yesterday. Oh my, is that Hisao? I didn't realize you were here. It seems that Lily is a little embarrassed about being so frank in front of me. Sorry, Lily, I thought you realized. No, it's alright, Hanako. Hisao, please don't worry about yesterday. It was just a misunderstanding. If you say so. I'm still working this place out. Well then, I think you'll find most people here a lot more forgiving than elsewhere. If you are feeling a little confused, please don't be afraid to ask questions. Sure, I'll remember that. Lily? Lily gives a small nod of acknowledgement. I'm sorry, Hisao, but we must be off. Hanako really doesn't look all that comfortable here right now, and Lily still seems a little embarrassed. I wonder if my apologies really made an impact. Mind if I accompany you two? I know I'm kind of pushing it, but Lily hums quietly, still smiling. I'm sure we could accommodate you. Can't we, Hanako? She looks at Lily, then me, and then she freezes, wide-eyed. Sure. Well then, shall we go? I'm sure Lily wouldn't do this so easily if she saw how scared Hanako looks, but it can't be helped now. Declining after the deal is sealed would only cause confusion and problems. Okay. I have read this, and this is where Emmy gives me a smack. And if I do things slightly differently, I'll end up with Shizune. Okay. So, they just had their fight, and now this time I am going to say, cut me a Lily's of slack. Hey, I'm the new guy, remember? It's not like I could have done much, even if I wanted to. That's right. You shouldn't expect a transfer student to jump right into it on his first week. Lily taking my side feels oddly comforting, so I decide to back her up too. Yeah, you're being unreasonable with us both.
Excuses, excuses. Miss Class Rep has had plenty of time to deal with her report. And we repeatedly offered you a position to help with the student council work, but you refused to commit yourself to making the festival a success.
Yeah, but as I said back then, I'm not sure if... I don't have time for this right now. No matter what I do, it will mean being drawn into a confrontation with Shizune, and that is what she wants. Whatever, forget it. I turn my back at them.
See ya, punk of mine.
Lily, class is going to be starting soon, so we can talk more later. I'll tell Hanako you were looking for her. I can feel Shizune freezing. Maybe this is the first time she has ever been ignored in such a blunt manner.
Thank you, Hisao. I'll leave now then.
She gives me the sweetest smile I've seen all week and turns on her heels to make her exit. As soon as Lily walks out the door, I suddenly start feeling reluctant about turning to face Shizune. I can feel her eyes burning into my back and can't bring myself to look at her. She must be furious. I keep expecting Misha to say something to alleviate the tension, but it really is wanting too much. In the end, I go back to my seat and listen to the sound of Shizune's footsteps as she marches out of the room. She doesn't return until a few minutes before class.
Oh, she angry.
Hanako doesn't come to the morning class at all, leaving her seat looking empty and lonely in the back of the classroom. I have to tell her that Lily was looking for her if I see her later. After the events of this morning, class seems pretty boring. That might be too loud. I turn the pages of my textbook lazily. I have a bit of catching up to do despite trying to keep up with my studies at the hospital, but I am not feeling that enthusiastic about it. The clock at the front of the room sounds unbearably loud. The teacher hasn't said anything in over 7 minutes, instead opting to cover the board in rows and rows of equations taken directly from the book. The rhythmic clashing of chalk on blackboard seems to synchronize perfectly with the ticking of the clock. I start to copy down the equations just to pass the time, even though they are right there in the textbook. When the bell rings, I'm not in a hurry because I have nothing to do. so I stay for a while reviewing what we covered in class today. I prefer to leave last anyway, so I don't have to deal with crowding in the hallways. I noticed Shizune and Misha have also stayed behind, talking to someone from another class. Shizune is signing so fast that her hands make noises like swords cutting through the air. Maybe there's pent-up anger in there. Misha's trying desperately to keep up, but it's clear she can barely manage to even understand her. I put my head down. Whatever they're discussing, it looks like serious business. Shizune signs to the point where her wrists crackle, ooh, and Misha struggles to spit it out in word form. Sometimes she trips over herself like she's dealing with tongue twisters, and then on top of that she has to sign back anything the other girl says. Seems like a rough job. Misha looks tired, like she's about to faint. Luckily for her, their business is soon finished and the girls sit down on their seats again. I think I've already read this. This sounds familiar. Nope.
Ugh, I'm so tired.
She's hanging her head limply on her desk, looking exhausted. I used the opportunity to reconcile with Shizune a bit without getting roped into the student council thing again, though I suspect that door is now closed for me. Festival preparations must be tough for you. And yet the people in the school seem to be taking the festival very seriously. Whenever I see people idling around before and after classes, they are always talking about their plans for it. It's kind of neat to see everyone being so enthusiastic about it. I'm probably the only one who doesn't have something to do. Shizune scoffs at me first, as if trying to decide whether to ignore or sneer at me, but in the end she starts signing without doing either. Misha perks up, looking at her hands with slight unfocused eyes.
Meh.
She signs with harsh, heavy, dramatic strokes. Misha translates her signing into speech for me. She does it so well it's almost like Shizune is actually speaking, transmitting her thoughts directly through Misha. She must have practiced it vigorously.
Well, of course, we're in the student council, you know, so we're pretty busy. Meh. It's an important duty of ours to ensure the success of the festival with all our strength. Meh. We would shame ourselves in front of the past student council generations if the festival were to fail. That's why there must be no flaws, I think that was encumbrances? No, nothing that might make the festival short of perfect.
Shizune's passionate speech and Misha's enacting are really oddly fitting of them.
Oh, hello. Whoa. The peeper. That's gonna be our peeper. She's our peeper.
I look over my shoulder and see Hanako peering timidly into the classroom, most of her body hidden behind the door.
Hey, playing delinquent again?
Hanako blushes hard at Misha's straightforward jab, even if it was only in jest.
Meh.
Oh, you're scaring her. Shizune stares at her probingly, causing Hanako to look down and start backing away to the point where only her fingers can be seen wrapped nervously around the edge of the door. Maybe she's showing her dislike of Hanako by association of her dislike of Lily. It appears so, and Hanako probably knows it as well. What is it, Hanako? Has Lily been here?
Sorry, haven't seen Sato. She came by in the morning, though.
Hanako keeps looking uneasily at Shizune, who stares back at her with her usual studying gaze.
What is she trying to do?
Of course, Shizune isn't going to look away, and she is intimidating enough as it is, so I can only imagine how terrified Hanako would be. It is a little uncomfortable watching Hanako's reaction to Shizune's normal behavior. This is what happens when two people of two different extremes meet, it seems. Do you know where she is?
Meh. If she has any sense in her head, she's in her classroom working on their festival project, but who knows where that woman is loitering at.
Meh. You need to find her? She was looking for you in the morning, but I guess you have missed each other. She waits a little without answering the simple question, looking awfully like she's not sure if it's proper to answer such a question. Yeah. I can come with you. If it's okay. Hanako nods fractionally, still on guard, her shoulders stiff like wood. I get the feeling that she might more comfortable by herself after all, but it's too late to back off now. She has this really troubled expression she seems to wear almost constantly, one that makes her constantly be on guard, one that makes me constantly be on guard myself. I wonder why. I kind of understand why she's always seems to be so wary, and maybe more like why there could be a person like her, but I still have no idea how I should act around such a person. It's dinner time soon. Were you planning to eat with Lily? She nods slightly. So she must have been trying to get in the cafeteria. Well, there's something of a dinner crowd, just like the cafeteria's crowded during lunch. It's not as bad because dinner time is longer than lunch hour, but I can understand why Hanako would be discouraged from going in. I pick up my bag and we take our leave. Hanako skips a little to meet my initial pace, so I slow down to match her speed. It doesn't take long for us to be walking at a comfortable pace down the hallway. It almost feels like we're going for a stroll together, something that I can't say I've really done before with a girl. Hanako doesn't seem to be thinking the same thing though. Even though we're walking at the same pace, she never comes within arm's reach of me. I guess she's still a little uncomfortable around me, given how shy she is. There doesn't seem to be much helping it, at least for now. By the time we arrive at the cafeteria, there is not much of a crowd there, but Lily is nowhere to be seen. She's probably in that secret room. Hanako's head sinks even lower than usual. Have you looked somewhere else already? Just at the library. I was reading. She does spend the classes she skips at the library. Ah, so not exactly a thorough search then. Well, if I had to guess, she'd be in her own class like Shizune said, right? Right. With the slightest of nods, Hanako agrees with my reasoning. God, she's being so awkward. It's like I need double layers of silk gloves with padding to even begin interacting with her. Some small talk might help her become a bit more used to me. It isn't hard to tell that the silence between us hovering on the edge of both of our minds is hovering over on the edge. Blah, blah, blah. So you and Lily usually hang out together after class, right? Yes. I'm not quite sure what I expected from her answer, nor why I even asked the question. That much was rather obvious after all. She doesn't seem like the type to cultivate a social circle either, so I suspect that Lily may well be her only friend. Must be a pain being in different classes, I'm guessing. She gives a sharp, almost reflexive nod. Compared to Lily's careful thought and her actions and speech, Hanako hastens to make her answers as prompt and short as possible. Lily comes by the classroom, though, even when she's busy. She gives a small smile as she says it, evidently appreciating the fact that Lily goes out of her way to help her. It's pretty cute, really. There isn't any need to say more, both of us content that the discussions reached an end. As we ascend the stairs back to the lobby, we are met by a group of students heading downstairs like a school of fish moving from one feeding area to another. What? Paper! They seem to be keeping mostly to themselves, but before I can notice her doing so, Hanako has moved around behind me. Hey, are you alright? Just keep going. Is that foreshadowing? The students pass us without as much as a second glance, and Hanako takes up position to my side again as we enter the building, her momentary reprieve from her anxiety all but snatched away. Even as we climb towards the third floor, she doesn't seem to relax. It isn't as if I've never known a shy person before, or even shy girls, but Hanako seems to be pretty far beyond what I'd call normal in her fear of other people. If it weren't for Lily acting as a mediator, I doubt Hanako would have even been able to walk beside me like this. She seems to completely shut down in the presence of others. The rest of the walk up to Lily's classroom continues in strained silence while I rue her inability to socialize at all. Ooh, she got that big ol' anxiety. Poor baby. She probably wants to talk to you, but she's scared. After we make our way up the stairs, the noise coming from Lily's classroom is audible from halfway down the hallway. I wasn't expecting such a din at all. Well, I guess we found her. This wasn't hard. Did Hanako come here first, then come to me for backup, I wonder? Well, if it's really loud, I'm sure that she was like, it's too scary. I not go. Well, if that's true, then at least she's starting to trust me a little. That can only be a good thing. Eventually, the two of us reached the door to Class 3-2. With Hanako less than subtly positioning herself behind me, I opened the door. Ooh, I'd never seen this room before. Inside is a hive of activities, seemingly every student in the class talking at once as they work hurriedly on their separate tasks. Going by the paint cans, decorations, and banners being made, it must be for the upcoming school festival, as everything is in this part of the game. I guess my first priority should be finding Lily. There. Finding her among the din is surprisingly easy, not the least because of her looks. With a couple of students gathered around her as she stands at the front of the class, she seems to be in charge of the preparations, or at least busy organizing them. Carefully negotiating a path through the various students hunched over the floor for lack of desk space, I raise a hand entirely out of habit as we finally reach Lily. Hi, Lily. She perks her head up as she breaks off talking to a noticeably smaller girl who must be her classmate, trying to listen as best she can. Sorry, who? Sorry, Hisao, I have Hanako too. Hi. She's pretty skittish, considering the number of people around. It isn't too hard to work out why. Lily takes a moment's pause to assess the situation before turning to the other student once again. For the moment, just ask Moria for his advice. Kenji's busy with painting one of the banners already. Oh, is it our Kenji? Is that allowed? Or is it just a common name? A quick nod and she bounces off, fingers carefully sliding along the wall's face for orientation. Wait, Kenji? That Kenji? I quickly turn about, leaning to the side to see past Hanako. Sure enough, in a corner of the room, Kenji's hunched over a sheet of cloth as he paints it. His eyes remain only inches from the brush, reminding me of how close he had to be to make out my face when I met him. Sorry about that. Our class doesn't have many students with even partial eyesight, so they're in high demand. That's right, Class 3-2 is especially for students with poor vision. Preparing for the festival might be pretty arduous for them. Need a hand? I could give you help if you need some. Maybe Hanako could too. Hanako's like, do not offer my help. I am scared. A chance to set her mind on something would do her good, but I doubt she has the courage to ask outright. She quickly nods in affirmation afterwards, so I'm confident I made the right move. Oh, okay. Lily gives a noticeable sigh of oh goodness, sigh of relief. Good. This might actually get finished before everyone goes off to dinner now. Would you be able to help the person painting the main banner? It's a big task for him to do, but nobody else can help. Kenji? Sure. Oofa. Is Lily's route gonna have a lot to do with Kenji? Has Lily and Kenji, had relations? Is she the one? I assume not, but maybe. She seems surprised that I know him. I can't really blame her. I take it you've met? Our rooms in the dorms are right next to each other. Hard to miss each other, really. Well, it's good to see you're getting friends so fast. Friend. I wonder if that's the right word to use for him. Hanako's silence during the proceedings reminds me of the reason I put her up to the helping in the first place. We'll go help him then. He knows what needs doing, right? That's right. Just ask if you have any problems. Chorusing in assent, Hanako and I begin another trek across the classroom. Kenji sits crouched on the floor, his gaze fixed on the white calico in front of him. I thought Calico was a cat. Look at his little head peeping. Hey, Kenji. No answer. He continues dragging his paint-soaked brush along the large, half-painted kanji that's stretched in the sheet in pencil, sketched in the sheet. Kenji?
Huh? What? Who is it?
If this is the way he treats class members, it's no small wonder he's working on this alone. It's me, Hisao from the... Right, I know that, man. What are you doing here, though? His dismissive attitude annoys me. He must be the type to really get focused on his work, hating to be disturbed by anyone until he's done, I suppose. While we talk, the sound of Hanako's footsteps as she walks out from behind me reminds me that she's here. I was just going to help with the banner, Hanako and I, that is. Hello. Hey, I guess that's okay. As soon as Hanako enters the equation, his demeanor takes a complete about-face. His sudden faux hospitality is slightly unsettling. Alright, women. On second thought, this may not have been a great idea after all. Hanako and I grudgingly set ourselves down on the opposite side of the cloth banner to Kenji, noting the several small paint tins on the ground around it. Class 3-2 noodle stall? You guys selling noodles at the festival on Sunday? Yeah, some stalls outside or something. Or something. His non-committal nature sparks a fair amount of suspicion on my behalf. The task at hand comes first, though. So how do you want to split this? We do borders while you do the text, or do you want to switch and do the borders? Text is mine. You do borders. He has surprisingly strong feelings on the topic. As I reach over to grab a brush, I notice Hanako's already debating between colors to use. By the time I've put the brush to cloth, she's already started on a delicate pattern. Looks like my idea of taking her mind off everyone around her worked. With a dark blue stroke, the three of us silently get to work. Not before Kenji takes advantage of Hanako's working to lean towards me and whisper conspiratorially, though. Okay, man, why are you here? Hanako just wanted some help to find Lily, that's all. He apparently disapproves of my motivations. I get it. It looks like I misjudged you. You're infiltrating them, aren't you? Going deep undercover. Kenji. I should have guessed. Letting the truth slip by him would probably be better than outright lying or annoying him in any case. Is that why you're here? Obviously. It sucks, but there's no better way to get intel than going in yourself. We gotta stick together, man. This is a harsh school, a harsh world. Yes, very harsh. Much harsh. He misses my true meaning as he leans back, satisfied I'm sympathetic to his cause. I'd better get down to work. Finished. Looks like I am too. Good job. Two of us connect up the lines of our patterns, mine being as close a copy as I could manage of hers. Can I see it? With a grunt, I lever myself up from the floor and look around. Aside from Hanako and myself, there's only Kenji left finishing off a sign, as well as Lily and a couple of students talking among themselves in the classroom. Looking at my watch, it's not surprising. It's getting pretty late. Need a hand? I offer a hand to Hanako, which she uses to get herself up. As she does, I can't help but glance at her wrist. If her scars extend even to there, how much of her body was burned? I feel a pang of guilt about it, however, as she quickly covers her wrist with her other hand. Looks good, doesn't it? She looks surprised for a moment before noticing that I mean the banner. It does, I guess. Her smile shows that she feels a slight sense of pride in the result, just as I do. With the floor significantly neater for the decorations being placed on desks and shelves, it's much easier to get to Lily as we cross the room. We finished the banner. I guess that's all that needs to be done? Lily gives an appreciative nod. Thank you, Hisao, Hanako. If there's any way I can thank you. It's fine. Beats sitting in my room studying at any rate.
I don't mind either.
She nods before suddenly remembering one last person.
Oh, is Kenji still here?
Just as I open my mouth, Kenji gives the answer from the other side of the room.
Yeah, just finished.
He carefully slides his sign onto an empty section of shelf to dry, before quickly walking past us and out the door.
See ya, man.
Bye. The remaining 2 students say their goodbyes to Lily before taking their cue to leave as well, leaving only the 3 of us. Well, I guess that's everyone.
I hope we don't have anything like that again.
I hope we don't have to do anything like that again. Working past school time?
Indeed. The class's plans this year were ambitious. Maybe too ambitious. The stalls look nice, though.
She's right. It shows that a lot of work's gone into them.
My. I'm sure a lot of us would be glad to hear that. At least now there's not much work to do until the festival itself. It's getting pretty late. Should we go? That's probably a good idea. Are you going back to the dorms as well, Hisao?
Yeah, I guess I'll tag along. The nighttime lighting really makes the gardens look quite different. Compared to the usual look of lush greenery, things are much more calm. Being that it's so late, the lack of students around probably helps. The odd one or two can be seen scurrying to and from dorms, trying to
Eki?
I think that's maybe I don't know what that word means. Making the most out of their approaching curfews, but no more. All that can be heard is our footsteps, in addition to Lily's cane regularly gently tapping the ground in front of her. It's nice to finally be able to relax a bit after the mad rush during school. Without even noticing it, I let out a small yawn. That's what a small yawn sounds like.
Tired?
Yeah, still getting used to the flow of things, I guess. The thing with Shizune took me kind of off guard, though. I grit my teeth a little at the candid mention of their rather public spat. That said, I do want to sort out what in the world was behind it.
About that. I'm sorry about it being so public. Shizune and I go back some ways.
Her voice seems slightly irritated as she remembers Shizune, obviously unwilling to discuss it any further. I glanced to Hanako for her views on this, but her expression is unsurprisingly evasive and difficult to read. Either way, I guess her apologizing for it is something, even if my curiosity goes unanswered.
I'll be glad once the festival is over in any case.
The change of topic's welcome, clearing the thickening air quickly. I can imagine my old school's festivals were a lot more low-key than this.
Yamaku stresses the idea of a school community, so the staff likes to make our festivals and such special occasions.
And yet the students are the ones who do the work. What an unfair world. Ha 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 ha. Hanako and Lily both chuckle in agreement, savoring the fact that none of the staff are around to hear out our grumbling.
I suppose coming from a strict all-girls school helped me a bit with Yamaku. Compared to there, Yamaku was much more relaxed.
That'd go a way towards explaining her well-bred speech and behavior in any case. As we come up to the dormitories, it eventually comes time to leave for our respective rooms. See you, Lily, Hanako. The two both give polite nods before setting off to the women's dorms, just next to the guys. As they would be. As is to be expected from such an arrangement, there's a staff member casually patrolling around outside to prevent any nighttime shenanigans. Walking past him, I quickly stretch my arms and rub my neck. Both quite sore after having worked on the floor for so long, before walking to my room. It feels good to actually have direction, though after so long in the hospital, the everyday facts of studying, homework, and teachers seem almost a blessing. I guess if things continue like this, my time at Yamaku might turn out okay. Adhering to the nurse's nagging voice in the back of my head, I set my alarm clock to wake me up early enough to go jogging again. I made a promise and I'm going to keep it. Besides, Emmy is bound to rat on me if I don't show up. But it's not all that bad. Sleepy.
Choo, choo, choo. Beep, 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 beep. So I'm gonna leave it off here. It's a little longer than I thought it was gonna take to get to the boop boop, but I figured that we would have already made it to the part to the act 1, but that's okay. Once I cut stuff, it'll probably be shorter. Yeah, I actually got a lot more new stuff than I thought I would. I guess that Rin's route is just really similar to kind of doing nothing, and the big end is the big decision is at the end. So I think for Hanako's route, I'm gonna leave it off here because I think I might actually get a bunch of new scenes in the next installment. And I will see everyone in the next video. Bye!